The story starts with the strongest exorcist in the world, Haruyoshi, who had enemies everywhere due to his great power. In the last moment of his life, he activated a spell for his reincarnation. Thus in another world full of magicians, the strongest exorcist was reborn as Saikyou Onmyouji. It was discovered that Saikyou had no magic, but that wasn't a problem for him because he could still use his abilities through spiritual powers. So Saikyou lived his life with two older brothers. One brother didn't like Saikyou because they are only half-siblings. In his new life, his family ignored him and Saikyou lived his life comfortably. But one morning, the slave named Ifa brought over the jacket that his brother Glay had thrown in the trash. His brother stated that their father allowed him to send him to the famous magic academy. Then their father appeared and took Glay to practice magic with him. But suddenly Saikyou asked if he could come along, and so they practiced magic together. When they were practicing magic, his brother Glay provoked Saikyou. Glay thought he couldn't use magic. So Saikyou showed his family his overwhelming power for the first time ever, shooting a blue fireball. His family fascinated and couldn't believe it. However, his father once heard rumors that there are people who can still use magic without magic energy in their bodies. After that day, Saikyou got more attention from his father and he learned more about this world full of magic. When Saikyou turned 11 years old, he wondered if he could summon the powerful ayakashis that he sealed in the previous life. So Saikyou opened a gate and summoned Yuki, who was very happy to see her master again. Saikyou was amazed that Yuki could instantly recognize him in his new body. After that, to keep Saikyou's powers a secret, she turned into a little fox and hid in Saikyou's hair. The next day, the girl Ifa spilled water on Glay, which made him angry and he forced Ifa to come to his room in the evening. But Saikyou heard about his brother's request and intervened him. This caused Glay to attack his younger brother Saikyou, but he deflected the attack and told Ifa that she didn't have to appear in Glay's room on the evening. After that, Ifa asked Saikyou to heal an injured carbuncle hatchling that was separated from his mother. So he asked Ifa to look away as he didn't want anyone to see his exorcism powers. As the carbuncle healed, Ifa was amazed by Saikyou as he has no magic power, but can still use magic spells. At the same time, Saikyou asked about Ifa's secret, because he had noticed for a long time that she could see spirits of animals. Saikyou told her that he could also see spirits too. So Ifa told her secret, then also said that she could see elementals. Then Saikyou decided to teach her magic and he summoned a fire that resembled elemental spirits and Ifa had to practice controlling it. So they practiced for months until Saikyou's 12th birthday. Again, Saikyou didn't get a special meal like his brothers, since he was the son of one of his father's loved ones. After that, his brothers wanted to train with Saikyou and as always, Glay's intentions were to tease his little brother Saikyou. Suddenly, the family was alerted by maids that a huge monster was coming towards them. Saikyou immediately ran to Ifa because he was worried about her. When he arrived, Ifa was able to defend herself and pushed the monster back with fire magic. So Ifa fled and Saikyou faced the giant salamander and finished off the giant salamander with a poison attack. The salamander fell over due to the powerful attack and everyone present was shocked that Saikyou was able to defeat such a beast. In the evening, his father came back from town and there was a feast for Saikyou. So Saikyou took the opportunity to ask his father to let him go to the Magic Academy. He agreed and Saikyou also wanted Ifa to accompany him to the Magic Academy. This required Ifa to prove that she could use magic and Saikyou gave her a magic wand. Ifa used her fire elementals and cast a high-level fire spell. So Saikyou and Ifa were allowed to attend the Magic Academy, but since it is a tradition that only one in the family attends the Magic Academy, Glay should join the army instead of Saikyou. So Saikyou was challenged to a duel. Saikyou accepted the challenge. On the evening, his older brother Ruft visited him and gave him a present for his birthday. Ruft apologized that he wasn't always the best brother because he didn't know how to behave towards him. But he was still proud of Saikyou and wished him every success at the Magic Academy. After that, when Saikyou saw the precious gift from Ruft, Glay interrupted him and he immediately wanted to duel. Glay was full of anger and intended to use powerful fire magic to hurt his little brother Saikyou, but the spell didn't harm him. After that, Saikyou created a barrier, causing Glay's attacks to bounce off him. Then Saikyou used a spell that immobilized Glay and activated a spell that brought Glay to his knees. As a result, his brother gave up. So Saikyou's plan worked to lure a monster to their estate by summoning one of his powerful ayakashi and then defeat Salamander by himself to enter the Magic Academy. When it was time to travel to the Magic Academy, his brother Ruft said goodbye to Saikyou and wished him a good time at the Magic Academy. So Ifa and Saikyou drove off in the carriage. Meanwhile, the father recalled how Saikyou came to her family. It turned out that Saikyou was his brother Gilbert's son, that one day a woman brought him to this family. He noticed early on that Saikyou was something special and that it was a good decision to send him to the Magic Academy. When Saikyou arrived in the capital, Ifa, who had a crush on him, tried to approach Saikyou. She wanted to sleep with him in a room at night, but the naive Saikyou didn't notice at all and sent her to lunch alone because he wasn't hungry. So Yuki showed up and told Saikyou that Ifa is obviously in love with him and he should learn more about that. But Saikyou has never really understood the feelings of women. The next day, Saikyou and Ifa had to pass the Magic Academy entrance exam. But before that, their elements were determined by a magic crystal ball. Ifa could use wind and fire, and everyone was amazed that Ifa is not a noble. Then it was Saikyou who didn't have any magic, so everyone thought he only made it to the academy because of his family connections. Saikyou didn't care what the others thought. But suddenly a citizen named Onmyouji appeared who could use all four elements, that everybody was amazed about her. Then they had their entrance exam to the Magic Academy, where the students have to use their magic. So Ifa used powerful flame magic that unintentionally destroyed the target, so she apologized for destroying the target. After that she went to the next and used wind magic, her magic piercing the stone wall, and everyone was overwhelmed by her power. Even Saikyou was surprised by her teaching herself wind magic. Then it was Saikyou's turn. Everyone thought he would fail the exam and suddenly he used blue flames that no one have seen before. Everyone was amazed at his blue fire and then Saikyou went to the next target and cast an earth spell. He created a metal that no one knows and destroyed the target with his unknown magic. The teacher didn't even know what was happening anymore and Saikyou just walked on and he cast water that transformed to ice. When he froze the target, everyone was just confused by him, since all normal students can only use weak magic. After that, the teachers exchanged ideas and it was said that in the other group there was still Onmyouji, who could use all of the basic elements. She should have the potential to become a future heroine. When Saikyou and Ifa looked at their results, Ifa was second in the entrance exam and Saikyou was third. He was really surprised that Ifa did so well in the exams. In the evening they went to the new students' welcome event, but on the way Saikyou and Ifa spotted something suspicious and found a magic circle, so Saikyou used his powers to observe it. After that in the hall, the first place in the entrance exams, Onmyouji gave a speech. Suddenly demons appeared and attacked them. First Saikyou observed the situation and wanted to stop the demons, but Onmyouji was one step ahead of him and attacked the demons and Saikyou realized that the demons are just someone's minions, because the demons acting weird. So Saikyou sought out the boss and he found the demon leader at the previously discovered magic circle. The leader summoned immediately henchmen were rushed towards Saikyou, but he simply made them disappear with a spell. However, the demon was not impressed and underestimating Saikyou, he used his sword magic to continuously attack Saikyou. In doing so, he managed to teleport behind Saikyou and cut off his arm. Then the demon leader told him about their target, that they want to kill Onmyouji as she will become the legendary hero and she will be a danger when the demon king rises. Then the demon leader attacked with a strong spell and he managed to sever Saikyou's head. But Saikyou wasn't really defeated, he was just playing with the demon, because he is able to revive himself continuously. The arrogant demon was still not impressed by Saikyou, so he attacked him with powerful water magic. After that, he attacked with an ayakashi that created lightning. The demon wiped out and managed to kill Saikyou again, but Saikyou couldn't be killed while he possessed the paper Hidogatas. Since Saikyou had all the information from the demon, he summoned a powerful ayakashi that looks like a dragon. Then his ayakashi devoured the demon and then tried to escape. So Saikyou used his Hidogatas to hunt him back and resealed the powerful ayakashi. After that Saikyou returned to the hall and Ifa told him that the demon henchmen in the hall were all defeated by Onmyouji. All of the other students were horrified by Onmyouji's power and began to fear her. The next day, on their way to the academy, a mixture of something strange almost threw on them. But Saikyou was able to teleport away with Ifa in time, because his teacher Mr. Cordell was using a mixture for his research with dark magic and he unintentionally dropped his mixture. Mr. Cordell was glad that nothing happened to the two. Then in Ms. Karen's class, Onmyouji and Saikyou were picked to do a school assignment in Lodonia Forest. When class was over, Saikyou told Ifa that he wanted to befriend with Onmyouji, because he knowing how bad it is for her to be praised as the strongest of many while being despised out of fear at the same time. Ifa could now understand his reason for to befriending with Onmyouji and wished him to succeed with his goal. So he and Onmyouji made their way to the Lodonia Forest and they discovered a magic circle. Suddenly Onmyouji got a headache and the two were teleported into a dungeon. Once inside the dungeon, they were immediately attacked by monsters. After that, they searched the way out of the dungeon, while Onmyouji was surprised by Saikyou's unknown magic powers. When they encountered another bunch of dungeon monsters, she tried to defeat them alone, but unfortunately the monsters overpowered her. When she was unconscious, Saikyou was finally able to summon a powerful Ayakashi, and his Ayakashi instantly defeated the dungeon monsters. When Onmyouji woke up with a severe headache, Saikyou suspected her headache might be from a curse. So he created a barrier and she undressed herself and allowed Saikyou to check her body, if she have a curse that someone spell on her. Saikyou couldn't find a curse on her body, but since she didn't have a headache in the barrier, he knew a curse was active on her. So he used his paper hitogata and a hair to absorb her curse. Meanwhile Onmyouji teased Saikyou and asked him if he do lewd things with his slave Ifa and her big boobs. She also told him that everyone can see that she have a crush on him. Then Onmyouji told him about her past, that she was very strong from a young age and loved to fight, which made her despised and feared as a child. But Saikyou encouraged her that having fun fighting wasn't a bad thing. The two slowly became friends and Onmyouji thanked Saikyou for the encouraging words and for saving her when she was unconscious. Then they went to the dungeon boss room and both fought a giant cobra that could use poison as an attack. But they could easily dodge the monsters and have a chance to attack. The fight went quickly as Saikyou used a metal spell to distract the cobra, allowing Onmyouji to fire a fireball at him and finish off the dungeon boss with her sword. When Onmyouji defeated the dungeon boss, she was happy to have defeated her first dungeon boss and hugged him. Saikyou was happy to have made friends with her and Onmyouji blushed. Later on they found a sword and a ring as a dungeon reward. Onmyouji got the sword and Saikyou took the ring. They also promised to explore such a dungeon together again in the future. After that they returned to the school and reported about the undiscovered dungeon trap. The teachers of the academy didn't know about the dungeon. But Saikyou knew that the teacher Cordell was behind all the accidents that had happened and confronted him. Mr. Cordell was surprised at Saikyou for defeating the demon and he admitted his true identity, that he works for the demons as a spy and they tried to kill the future heroine Onmyouji. Then Mr. Cordell underestimated him and said that he was also the one who cursed the girl and she will die from the curse. Unfortunately Saikyou had absorbed the curse on a hitogata and summoned a demon that he sealed beforehand. So Saikyou was able to transfer the curse to himself and the teacher thought he was crazy because he would die from the curse. However, Saikyou used his exorcist power and simply sent the curse back to the user, Mr. Cordell. So Mr. Cordell was dying by his own curse and was defeated. Sometime later, Saikyou having dinner with Onmyouji and Ifa in their academy hall. He and Ifa are suddenly sent from the vice principal to the headmistress office. Arriving at the headmistress office, Saikyou discovered that she was of dwarf origin. Then she said that Saikyou's confident demeanor was the same like his father's brother, so Saikyou found out in passing that his father had a brother. After that she said that she wanted to send him to a mixed disciplines combat tournament in the capital with another person. So Mabel Crane, who was a new student at the academy, entered the office. The academy was only allowed to send 2 students to participate, so Saikyou or Ifa should take part in the tournament with Mabel. When everything was discussed, Onmyouji was angry that she wasn't chosen as she is the strongest in sword fighting. Ifa reassured Onmyouji, stating that it was maybe because of his achievements against the salamander and exploring the dungeon that Saikyou was chosen. But this made Onmyouji even more surprised since she was in the dungeon with Saikyou, so he said that the principal thought him and Ifa are more suitable for some specific reason. Then on campus, Onmyouji assumed that Mabel came from a noble family and was allowed to attend the tournament. Suddenly Mabel appeared behind her, hearing everything. She called Onmyouji weak and made it very clear to her that Onmyouji wasn't chosen because being a weakling, she didn't deserve it. Since it was mainly a sword fighting tournament, Onmyouji challenged her. Saikyou didn't stop the two as he was keen to find out about Mabel's abilities. So they started fighting and Mabel immediately won the fight after attacking and looked down at Onmyouji who was lying on the ground. However, Onmyouji couldn't accept her defeat as Mabel used magic in the fight. Mabel says that her naivety is her problem and also warns Saikyou. She advised him not to take part, as she also thought he was weak. The next day, Saikyou traveled with Mabel to the capital city for the tournament, but he wondered why Onmyouji came with him. She claimed she was coming to see the capital, but Saikyou knew the true reason was that she is interested to see Mabel fighting and just wanted to watch Mabel do well in the tournament. When they arrived, Saikyou was extremely unwell from motion sickness and he wanted rest until tomorrow when the tournament begins. The next day the mixed disciplines tournament started and Saikyou got ready with his friends. Saikyou was the first participant and had to fight an arrogant guy who didn't take Saikyou seriously. His opponent threatened not to spare him and cut him to pieces. Saikyou decided to end the fight quickly and let him attack first. He then teleports behind him and attacked him so violently that the guy flew into a wall. The spectators were surprised by Saikyou and everyone cheered him on. As he was on his way to the grandstand, Yuki appeared and warned him that he didn't want to end up like his previous life as the strongest person who has enemies everywhere. As he watched Kyle's next fight from the stands, he used his shikis so he could watch the fight closely. Because this, Kyle immobilized his opponent with a curse and killed him with his sword. Seika found him very suspicious and watched him closely, realizing that Kyle has an evil eye that can curse the opponent through his eye. Then the second round of the tournament started and Seika faced off against a magician who possessed a golem. She underestimated Seika and thought he had no chance, but Seika summoned an ayakashi that immediately destroyed her golem. So he immediately made her surrender and everyone thought he had defeated her with a wind spell since his ayakashi so fast that nobody have seen him. Then he went back to his friends and Ifa wanted Seika to give up as she was worried about him because Kyle killed his opponent in the previous fight. Seika calmed down Ifa and promised her that he would continue to win unharmed. Then Mabel's fight started, so Onmyouji told Ifa that the two should stop flirting and the next fight is about to start. As the fight began, she had to fight an earth mage. In the process Mabel threw several small knives infused with magic at him, which easily shattered his defenses. Since Mabel was using dark magic and using gravity magic to enhance her weapons, it piqued Seika's curiosity. Because when Mabel won, she was dubbed a redhead heroine and Seika asked her friends why she was hailed as a redhead heroine. Through his friends, he learned that the final heroine was also named Mabel Crane, who had red hair and wielded the same weapons. This is how Seika gathered more information about Mabel. As evening fell, he pursued a demon spy that he had previously spied on with his shikis. The man was surprised that Seika knew so much and wanted to kill him sneakily, but Seika immediately countered and bound him with his spell. The man didn't want to talk and would rather be tortured, but Seika didn't waste any time. He summoned an ayakashi that could read minds and asked the man questions. This is how he found out that the demons had no information on Onmyouji since Seika wiped out the demons' only informants. In addition, he found out that Mabel is being misrepresented as a fake heroine in order to draw attention away from Onmyouji. Then Yuki appeared and asked him what he would like to do with the information. Seika replied that he won't investigate further as he thinks it's good that Onmyouji is safe from the demons. The next day Kyle continued to win and he was qualified to the semifinals. Afterwards, Seika fought a necromancer summoner and qualified for the semifinals against his opponent Mabel. As Seika was walking back to the stands, Mabel approached him because she underestimated him and asked him to retire from the fight against her. But he didn't want to and she warned him that otherwise he would die fighting her. Seika wasn't intimidated and then watched Reina's vs Kyle from the stands. When the fight started, Reina used a spell to resist Kyle's evil eye and used fireballs on him. Kyle didn't take any damage from the attacks and when Reina summoned golems, Kyle activated shadow magic and easily won against him. So it was evening and when Seika wanted to sleep, Yuki transformed into her human form and snuggled up to him, which bothered him. Suddenly, Mabel launched a surprise attack on him. So they started fighting at night. Mabel was really strong but Seika overpowered her. Then a drunk man appeared and Mabel got her chance to escape. Seika sought out Mabel and she threatened him with a short sword. So Seika said he wasn't seeking out to kill her, because Seika noted that she had no serious intention of killing him. He wanted to know the reason why Mabel wanted to fight in the finals of the tournament. Mabel tells him that she should pretending to be the heroine and Kyle should kill her in the finals. As a result the demons will think the future heroine is dead. In addition, Seika learned that Mabel was trained from a merchant association with other children to become mercenaries or assassins. Kyle is one of the children and he is assigned to kill Mabel so he can pass his mercenary exam. The reason is the merchant association tries to create perfect mercenaries by subjecting children like Kyle through magic to a dangerous operation that suppresses emotions and the sense of pain. Then Mabel tells that she was also one of the mercenaries, because in the merchant association there are always a group of 4 children. One of the 4 has to kill all the others in the group as a test in order to become the perfect mercenary. Also, Mabel said that in the finals she wants to kill Kyle, because he killed her brother, who was also in their mercenary group. When Seika found out about everything, he immediately noticed her lie that she wanted to avenge her brother. Seika knew that Kyle was actually her biological brother and that her hair was just dyed. This is how Seika learned about Mabel's real motivation, because Kyle was a good brother until the merchant association turned him into a cold-blooded killer through dangerous operations. Before becoming so vicious, he begged Mabel to kill him if he wasn't himself after the operation. After the long story of Mabel, Seika decided to fight against Kyle instead of Mabel, because he didn't want to let Mabel die. He also promised her to defeat him and help her. The next day was the semi-finals of the tournament and Seika fought Mabel. In the fight, Mabel immediately used her gravity magic and attacked Saikyou. Saikyou teleports away and Mabel tried to defeat him with throwing knives. After that, Mabel tries to launch an attack and Saikyou also cast gravity magic on her. Saikyou then combined wood and metal magic, allowing him to bind and immobilize her. After that, Saikyou ended the fight with the referee announcing his victory. Following this, Saikyou fought Kyle in the finals and Saikyou immediately created fog at the start of their fight. He doesn't want other people to see Saikyou's true powers. Then he started attacking Kyle with powerful spells, but Kyle was using very strong gravity magic that he didn't mind. As a result, Saikyou summoned the powerful Ayakashi Ashioni. Saikyou's Ayakashi immediately overpowered Kyle and knocked him out without any problems. As Kyle lay on the ground and was defeated, a self-destruct mechanism activated. In the last moment of Kyle's life, he regained his senses and asked Saikyou to convey his last words to Mabel. Subsequently, the good-natured Saikyou couldn't let him die and wanted to save him. Suddenly, Yuki intervened him and prevented it, because Saikyou's magic would cause too much attention and he would suffer the same fate as his last life as a result. This is how Saikyou stopped the rescue even when it was difficult for him to let Kyle die. Then Saikyou won the tournament and he buried Kyle with his little sister Mabel outside the town. He also told her Kyle's last words. That made her very happy and Mabel cried at hearing the last words of Kyle. After that, Mabel didn't know what to do anymore and Saikyou promised to protect her and make sure she was allowed to go to school normally. After that they returned to Ifa and Onmyouji, who were already waiting for them. They knew most of the happenings and Onmyouji immediately wanted a rematch with Mabel. When the fight started, Onmyouji first fooled, then she also used gravity magic, which surprised Mabel greatly. Then the two became friends and they returned to the academy together. Back at the Magic Academy, Saikyou reported what had happened to the headmistress. He understood immediately that everything was planned by the headmistress to save Mabel. Saikyou then asked what she planned to do with Mabel and she replied that she had no plans for Mabel. She just found Mabel's fate sad and that her talent would be wasted if she died at such a young age. So time passed, Saikyou told him that in the summer vacation he was invited to the kingdom of Asteria, because there is a dragon, who appeared and he is out of control. Then the crown prince of Asteria named Cecilio suddenly appeared with his maid. Saikyou introduced himself to him and the crown prince immediately noticed the prettiness of Ifa. Cecilio thought she was a noblewoman and offered Ifa to become one of his wives so she could join his harem. Ifa politely declined the offer, arguing that she is Saikyou's servant. Meanwhile, Saikyou thought if the crown prince was mentally retarded. After that, Saikyou was told about the details of the appeared dragon in the kingdom of Asteria. Saikyou learned that the dragon was always peaceful and had lived peacefully in the kingdom for a long time, but recently the dragon has been rampaging around causing a lot of property damage. After the conversation, Onmyouji and Mabel surprised Saikyou because they wanted to know if Saikyou would hand over his servant Ifa to Cecilio. Saikyou calmed them down and said that he had no intention of handing her over to Cecilio's as his wife unless she wanted it herself. Then Saikyou and Ifa drove to the kingdom of Asteria in the carriage. Upon their arrival, Cecilio picked them up and suddenly a lava tiger appeared, who wanted to hunt the dragon. The monster got out of control and tried to kill Ifa. In the last moment Saikyou stopped the lava tiger from attacking Ifa and he wanted to kill the monster. Then the summoner of the monster appeared, who put the monster in chains. Then Saikyou found out that Cecilio was hiring mercenaries to deal with the dragon's problem. Saikyou tried to change Cecilio's mind, because he thought it was wrong to hire such dangerous mercenaries that didn't care about other people's life. Then the summoner provoked Saikyou, saying he had everything under control. Saikyou was angry since his monster almost hurt Ifa. After that he lectured Ifa, because Ifa could cast a spell to defending herself. Later in the king's palace, he researched about the dragon. In doing so, he found old books, where a lot of interesting information about the dragon was written. He decided to investigate the cause of the runaway dragon. He wanted to investigate the cause alone on the next day, because he didn't want to endanger Ifa. As a result, Ifa misunderstood his concern for her and was very sad about it. As night fell and Saikyou was preparing for tomorrow, suddenly Ifa appeared. She told him that Crown Prince Cecilio asked her to come to his room and that she was scared of being alone in her room. Saikyou cheered her up and said that she didn't have to do the request and that she could spend the night with Saikyou in his room. When they were both in bed together, Saikyou then asked if she would like to join the Crown Prince's harem. Suddenly, Ifa apologized for being useless for not being able to defend herself yesterday. Unfortunately, Saikyou didn't understand Ifa's feelings and misunderstood everything and hurt her feelings. The next morning, Yuki tried to tell Seika that Ifa had been in love with him for a long time, but Seika was a hopeless case who still misinterpreted Ifa's feelings. Then Seika reported to the Crown Prince Cecilio that he was going to the mountains for a few days to research about the dragon. Cecilio immediately had ulterior motives and wanted to seduce the innocent Ifa during Seika's absence, so Seika went to the mountains without Ifa. Later on, Ifa was visited by the Crown Prince's maid, who wanted to talk with her. Ifa learned from the maid of Crown Prince Cecilio that she is descended from the elves. She also told that Seika is dangerous. The elf servant explained to Ifa that the elementals avoid Seika because he is a monster. Then the elf wanted Ifa to join Cecilio's harem. Meanwhile, Seika encountered a dragon, he fought against him and used an ayakashi to immobilize it. After that, Seika used a net and caught the dragon. Then Seika figured out why the dragon was causing so many problems. He discovered the dragon was protecting his egg. Yuki wondered how a male dragon could have a baby, and Seika told her that some male reptiles can change their gender. Meanwhile, Cecilio's maid tried to convince Ifa of the Crown Prince's harem, and she showed her the benefits that she can get. Then Seika helped the dragon with her egg, and the dragon liked Seika that he had to stay longer. Then we see Ifa, and she was called to Cecilio. He wanted to buy Ifa from Seika against her will. He used his privileges as Crown Prince and abused his power to free Ifa as a slave. He told Ifa that Seika will be killed if he tries to interrupt him. He is also willing to force Seika to do his request. Followed, Ifa didn't want to be released from her slave contract because she loves Seika. The prince ignored her opinion while Ifa was held down by the guards, and Cecilio's maid set up a barrier against Ifa's magic power. So Ifa couldn't resist, and they tried to force Ifa to cancel the slave contract against her will. Suddenly Seika appeared on a dragon. He didn't know about Cecilio's evil intentions. He just wanted to take Ifa to the dragon because he needs someone with strong fire magic. So he took her with him, and Ifa was happy that Seika showed up. As they flew to the dragon's hideout, Ifa thanked him for saving her. Seika was confused as he didn't know that he was saving Ifa from Cecilio. When they got to the dragon egg, a lava tiger appeared and Seika stopped the attack. After that, mercenaries also showed up. They planned everything and were after the dragon egg. When the lava tiger tried to attack again, it was suddenly defeated with water magic. Ifa was the user of the strong water magic, and the mercenaries got angry. Following this, Seika used a spell and he destroyed the mercenaries' monster. Also, all his enemies were scared, because the dragon that Seika is friends with intimidated them. Then Ifa burned the magic book from the monster summoner, and Ifa was praised by Seika. After that, in the kingdom, Seika reported the incidents to Crown Prince Cecilio that the mercenaries tricked him and the dragon was only causing trouble because he wanted to protect his baby. Seika advised Cecilio that all he has to do is help the dragons take care of the egg. Follow the dragon will no longer cause troubles. Cecilio didn't listen to Seika's advice. He asked Seika to wipe out the dragon, and Seika refused his absurd request. Suddenly Cecilio got angry and he wanted to have Seika killed because he didn't want to accept his request. After that, Cecilio demanded that Ifa become a citizen of his realm, and he wanted to force her to leave Seika. Seika couldn't let him bother Ifa, and so Seika got angry. Seika said that Cecilio shouldn't act like a little child. He also said to him that he would never give her Ifa. Then Cecilio's maid stopped the troublemaker prince, and Ifa was allowed to express her opinion about her own decision. Ifa declined the king's offer, saying that she wanted to stay with Seika. Afterwards, the servant apologized to Seika and the two returned to the academy. A few days later, Seika suddenly invited Onmyou to his home, and Ifa misunderstood the invitation. Seika explained that he doesn't want to propose marriage. The real reason was his father wanted to meet the best student at their academy. Mabel was also invited to his house. Arriving at the Lamp Rouge estate, Seika was greeted by his brother Luft and the father of Ifa. Seika's friends introduced themselves and thanked them for the invitation. Luft then complimented Ifa that made her blush. Suddenly, his brother Glay appeared, wanting to fight against Seika. He was no longer angry with Seika and thanked him for having to join the army through him. Glay was having a lot of fun in the army, but still wanted a rematch against Seika. Then Onmyou challenged Glay to a fight, and Seika promised to accept his duel challenge if he defeated Onmyou. Seika's brother accepted his request, and Seika forbade any use of magic in their battle. Onmyou then fought Seika's brother Glay, and Glay repelled the attacks. Suddenly he stumbled and he tricked Onmyou. He used a feint by pretending to use magic. Onmyou wanted a rematch, but Glay refused. As a result, Saikyou wanted to keep his promise and accept a fight against his brother, and suddenly Princess Fiona appeared. Glay was her knight and she wanted to see him fight against Saikyou. With the appearance of the Holy Princess, Glay lost interest in fighting his brother. Then Glay introduced the Holy Princess to Saikyou's friends. They were all surprised to meet the Holy Princess Fiona. After that, Yuki wanted to know what a noble title Holy Princess is, and Saikyou explained to her that she is called that because she is the daughter of a high priestess and her father is an emperor. Then Fiona met Onmyouji and she was happy that Saikyou gave her the opportunity to meet the future heroine Onmyouji. As the princess left the room, Saikyou was confronted by his friends, and he apologized for hiding the real reason for inviting them. At lunch, Saikyou told the Holy Princess that he recently encountered a dragon and he befriended with the dragon. Fiona was surprised that Saikyou were allowed to fly on a dragon with Ifa. In addition, she became curious about the relationship between Ifa and Saikyou. She asked how they felt about each other, while Ifa was overwhelmed by the princess's question and she said that she is his maid. During lunch, the Holy Princess also learned more about Mabel. Then Saikyou's father remembered about the conversation with Adis, because he wanted to know if Adis is angry that he also sent Ifa to Magic Academy. He replied that he's just angry that Ifa is the maid of an illegitimate child. Saikyou's father said that he shouldn't badmouth Saikyou because he's a good boy. In the evening, Onmyouji showed up in Saikyou's room and Saikyou found out that Onmyouji will become an adventurer after the academy and she thought that Saikyou would like to study further. Saikyou cheered her up and said that he will keep his promise with her and he will accompany her on the path of an adventurer. Onmyouji was happy that he will continue to accompany her in life. The next day, Fiona wanted to see the city and she wanted to hold hands with Saikyou. She also wanted to experience love and seeing couples in love. She asked Saikyou and Onmyouji how a romantic relationship could develop. After that, they continued to sightseeing at the town and suddenly an accident happened at a construction site. Following the Holy Princess was in danger, Onmyouji and Glay reacted in time and they used powerful spells to protect the princess. Fiona was saved and she lost interest from Saikyou and thanked Onmyouji and Glay for saving her. After that, they decided to return to the Lamp Rouge estate. Before heading home, Saikyou gave her idea and she was glad of his gift as she had never received a gift from anyone. Then Saikyou created a mirror with his magic and she thanked Saikyou for the great day. In the evening, Saikyou was surprised that his brother Glay worked out as a knight and he trained without a break. Then Saikyou learned from his brother that Fiona could see into the future and he told him that the princess showed interest in Onmyouji and Saikyou. At that point he need to be careful, because it's a bad sign. In the days that followed, Saikyou was searched for every day by Princess Fiona, but Saikyou tried to hide from her. He teleports away all the time, so she can't find him and Yuki asked him why he's running away from her. He then explained to Yuki that his divination and her future vision are different abilities and not the same. After that, Saikyou met Onmyouji and she said that he was training with his brother Glay's swordsmanship. Saikyou found out that Onmyouji couldn't win against his brother, which surprised him a lot, because Onmyouji is the heroine and has a lot of talent. Then Saikyou told Onmyouji that he is hiding from Princess Fiona. Following this, Saikyou was convinced by Onmyouji to spend some time with Princess Fiona. Saikyou went to Fiona and she wanted to play chess with him. He learned that she often has no one to play with, because she always wins with her ability, that she can see into the future. Saikyou then played chess with her and was asked which figure he thought was the strongest. Saikyou said that in the reality the nobles were the strongest, but Fiona told him about her opinion of the citizens and peasants. She had the opinion that ordinary citizens and peasants are the strongest characters. Also he learned that the citizens are outnumbered and conspicuous, as a result they are the strongest characters. Then Saikyou asked about her ability to see into the future, he wanting to know more about her ability. He also wanted to know why she put herself in danger a few days earlier, even though she already knew that an accident would happen. Fiona told him that she had the power since birth and that the future is always changeable. Then they continued to play chess and Saikyou gave up because Fiona won the chess game. In addition, Saikyou was impressed with the Holy Princess' ability to see into the future. Afterwards, Fiona said that her ability also had disadvantages. Saikyou learned that as a child, she was always afraid to eat stew in winter. The reason was with her ability to see into the future, she knew that there was always wheat flour in the stew. She thought that when she warmed up by the fireplace after eating, bread would be baked in her stomach and she would get very fat. When Saikyou heard her embarrassing story, he had to laugh. He thought it was really cute that Princess Fiona was so innocent in her childhood. Afterwards, Fiona thanked Saikyou for playing with her chess. Then we see evil demons, who defeated a big group of bandits. They were very powerful monsters that hunted humans in order to eat them. One of them had a special ability to see how strong someone is. A few days later, Saikyou and his friends were on their way to the Magic Academy and Luft said goodbye to them. Maple was sad, because she wanted to stay longer at the Lamp-Rouge mansion. Then Glay wanted to go to the capital with them and Princess Fiona also thanked Luft for the nice time in their mansion. Following this, Saikyou was in a carriage with Princess Fiona and his brother Glay. So Glay was surprised that Saikyou also had a weakness, because Saikyou couldn't take the ride in a carriage. Afterwards, Saikyou asked his brother Glay what would happen if the carriages were attacked by bandits. Suddenly a group of bandits appeared and the princess already guessed it with her special skill to look into the future. Saikyou went on the roof of the carriage and the bandits wanted to attack him with bows. So Saikyou deflected all arrows with ease and he cast a spell. Also he looked down on them and laughed at them. Then the bandits started more attacks, but they didn't stand a chance against Saikyou. So they tried to use magic against Saikyou. He used a barrier and blocked their attacks. When the arrows were deflected, Glay supported his little brother and he ordered the knights to fight against the bandits. Following this, Saikyou used magic that defeated all the bandits. The bandits were all defeated immediately and Saikyou's friends showed up. After that, Fiona thanked Saikyou for the help to catch the bandits. Saikyou learned that she already knew she would be attacked by them and she had planned everything. Then they arrived in the capital and Princess Fiona thanked them for the nice time and she also was happy to meet them all. Glay also said goodbye to his little brother Saikyou and Saikyou said goodbye to Fiona and his brother. Meanwhile, the strong demons were on their way to kill the current heroine. In the days that followed, the headmistress offered Saikyou to join the student council. Yuki was worried as his entry into the student council would draw a lot of attention. Saikyou told Yuki that it's not a big problem, because his new position wouldn't affect his goals to live a normal life. Then he said that he still aims to have an ordinary life with his friends. In addition, he will continue to hide his strength and continue to defeat dangerous enemies from the shadows. Then we see the demon group and the leader Zor. They had arrived in the capital with their aiming to kill the heroine Onmyouji. Followed then Zor ordered his group to split up and find Onmyouji at the Magic Academy. The demon group was confident that none of the humans were strong enough to fight them. So the demons made their way to the Magic Academy with confidence. However, the demon Gannis teleported the group to the guild grounds, but Saikyou was already waiting for them and created fog. Gannis spotted humans and attacked them with fire magic. As he checked the bodies, he noticed something is weird. Then we see the monster tamer Lonnie and Prislaria. They were teleported to another area, so they were looking for the heroine. Suddenly a human appeared and Lonnie summons demon wolves. The wolves attacked the human, but they only found a talisman of Saikyou. Then we see the ogre Mutarev in his search, but Mabel appeared and attacked him. Mabel thought the ogre belonged to her former organizations, the Merchant Association, who wanted revenge. The ogre didn't know what she was talking about. However, Mabel fought against the ogre. He underestimated him since Mabel looks weak. Then Mabel attacked him with all her powers and was able to bind the ogre with magic techniques. Mutarev was able to break free as he possessed resistance to all magic elements. Then Mutarev wanted to attack and he tried to kill her, but she was teleported to another location by Saikyou with a talisman. After that, all the demons were lured to a certain place by Saikyou, still unaware that it was all a trap. They noticed that the people they met were all weird, and after defeating them, they always left some sort of paper figure behind. Suddenly Saikyou showed up. He was expecting the demons and he said that they fell into his trap. The leader of the demon group Zor used his ability to find out the strength of Saikyou and froze at the sight. Meanwhile, Saikyou insulted the ogre and he cut off his head with a cursing spell easily. The demon Prislaria got angry and wanted to avenge her ogre friend. She was capable of using an evil eye and Saikyou wanted to show her the true power of an evil eye. Saikyou summoned a giant snake Ayakashi named Hakuta. Hakuta also had an evil eye and killed Prislaria in just a moment. Everyone was horrified by the snake and the monster tamer ordered a monster to attack Hakuta. Saikyou's Ayakashi also killed him and Lonnie tried to tame Hakuta. Followed then Lonnie was eaten and Saikyou found it amusing that the demon was trying to tame his Ayakashi. Meanwhile, Zor was frozen in fear, realizing at first glance that they didn't stand a chance. Zor ordered one of his friends to flee because he saw with his eyes that Saikyou is a demon king. The demons were scared because was the demon king, who protects the heroine Onmyouji and also was on the side of the humans. Zor tried to buy his friend Gannis time and he attacked Saikyou with all his strength. Saikyou easily defeated the leader of the demon group and Gannis managed to teleport away. Gannis was badly injured and he couldn't believe that Saikyou was supposed to be the demon king. Suddenly, his chest was cut open, and he died instantly from the injury. The demons didn't stand a chance against Saikyou as he is far too powerful. Mabel then showed up and told him about the assassins, thinking the demons were after her. Saikyou revealed to her that they were after Onmyouji and he defeated them all. He also asked Mabel not to tell anyone else the secret. The next day, all the students were gathered in the school hall and Saikyou had to give a speech in front of everyone. He asked Onmyouji for advice for his speech and suddenly knights appeared looking for Onmyouji. The knights wanted to arrest Onmyouji. They claimed that Onmyouji committed a crime yesterday and she murdered the envoy of the demon realm. The knights wanted to hear Onmyouji's confession, but she knew nothing about the crime. Mabel and Aoife wanted to protect their friend, but Saikyou stopped them. Saikyou told Onmyouji that since she is innocent, it won't happen anything to her. However, two knights got angry at Saikyou for believing that Onmyouji is innocent. The leader prevented a riot, because he only wanted to arrest Onmyouji and do his job. So Onmyouji was arrested and Saikyou wanted to know the reasons for the arrest from the headmistress. He wanted to know who was to blame, so the headmistress answered that the academy would take care of it. Saikyou believed her that the headmistress would try everything to save Onmyouji, but he knew if nothing would happen now, Onmyouji would have been murdered. Then Aoife and Mabel were told by Saikyou that the school is taking action and they don't have to worry. After that, Saikyou summoned his dragon and he was about to go rescue Onmyouji. When Saikyou wanted to ride his dragon, Yuki worried about Saikyou. She warned him that he will draw a lot of attention and his peaceful life will end. Besides, he might repeat the same fate of his previous life. Saikyou couldn't be swayed, he was angry and decided to save Onmyouji at all cost. Following this, Saikyou was on his way to find Onmyouji in the capital. Meanwhile, Onmyouji was terrified, locked in a prison cell, fearing that she would never see her friends again and that she would not be able to experience fun adventures with them. Then she started crying and suddenly a mysterious person appeared. Following this, Saikyou flew into the capital with his dragon and he used his Hitogata paper to locate Onmyouji. Saikyou immediately located Onmyouji's whereabouts and ended up in the prison's castle. When Saikyou tried to save Onmyouji, the knights tried to kill Saikyou. A knight calls for reinforcements and Saikyou was attacked by thousands of arrows. Following this, Saikyou showed his power and none of the arrows could penetrate his defenses. After that, Saikyou countered with an attack and used earth magic to defeat the knights. Saikyou was on his way to the underground of the castle and more knights appeared, who wanted to stop Saikyou. Followed Saikyou was immediately attacked with fire arrows and he also used fire magic and attacked the knights with a white flame attack. Many knights were burned and they continued to fight, so Saikyou summoned in powerful Ayakashi who slashed them all up. Saikyou and his Ayakashi defeated countless knights in just a moment and they had no chance against him. As a result, Saikyou got into the underground and he was able to free Onmyouji. Onmyouji was mad at him because she was scared that Saikyou would get into big troubles after rescue her. She didn't want to go with him as she didn't want to put Saikyou in danger. So Saikyou told her that she is the heroine and she will be killed if she doesn't flee with him. Saikyou wanted to protect Onmyouji and wanted to escape with her together. Suddenly a person appeared and it was Saikyou's big brother Glay who blocked his attack. Then the holy princess Fiona also appeared. Saikyou wanted her to explain why Onmyouji was arrested and why Princess Fiona wanted Onmyouji be killed. Fiona then explained to him that the current nation was once small and the hero was a symbol of peace. Besides, the current nation was still weak at that time and the world was uneducated. She said that Demon King and Hero are obsolete nowadays as both races demons and humans strive for peace. Saikyou learned that the demons wanted to kill Onmyouji as they wanted to erase the cause of the war. Additionally, Saikyou learned that Onmyouji can never become as strong as the previous heroine. The reason is Saikyou is by her side, who always protecting her from danger. Saikyou didn't want to let Onmyouji die and Fiona offered him to take care of the problem and also not arrest him if he leaves now. Saikyou declined her offer, saying that he doesn't know if he can trust her. Fiona was sad and his brother was disappointed in his brother Saikyou. So Fiona accepted Saikyou's decision and she prepared a carriage for Saikyou and Onmyouji's escape. Following this, Onmyouji thanked Fiona and Saikyou found out that Fiona gave her a blanket in the prison and visited her all the time. So Saikyou apologized for doubting her and made amends as a farewell. Then Saikyou went to the dead knights from her army and he revealed his true power. He revived the knights and the two girls were shocked by Saikyou's powerful spells. Then Saikyou and Onmyouji wanted to head back and they knew they would have to leave school afterwards. Meanwhile, Fiona talked to a shadow. He wanted to know who Saikyou is. Fiona tells him that he is the current demon king, who protects the heroine. Saikyou wrote a letter to his friends and they decided to go on an adventure together. So, Onmyouji and Seika met their friends in a town to start their new life together as adventurers.